checking in with your body, dropping into the present moment, and feeling. Noticing whatever is alive for you in your felt sensation. Body, emotions. And allowing whatever is there to be experienced and felt. If your attention wanders to mental talk or other forms of distraction away from the felt experience, that's okay. Just notice that and then come back to the felt experience. The body, the emotions, whatever else is there to feel. Allowing yourself to feel and just be with whatever's there. This is a chance to let go of all the different things we have to think about from sunup to sundown with our responsibilities and the world. And instead we can engage with this moment with the gift of just noticing, how are we feeling? Continuing to be with that exploration, moment to moment exploration of what is being experienced right now in the felt sense. Body sensations, emotions, other felt experience. And recognizing that we're all carrying in different felt experience, and we're carrying a lot in our bodies. Physically, emotionally, otherwise. And so we can kindly allow that experience to unfold in each moment. And if you like, breathing into these sensations as a way to be with them. Recognizing that there may be a lot here. Opening to that. What are you feeling? What's alive in your felt experience right now? This moment. What is it that you're feeling? What are your body sensations? Opening to the simple wonder. What's going on? Direct experience of what is being felt, body, emotion, whatever else. Turning away from any mental talk or other different sensations that you're maybe hearing, seeing, and just going with the feeling, noting what is alive in my felt experience, in this felt experience right now. What is being lived through this felt experience, and investigating that, allowing that, welcoming that. Opening to this moment of felt aliveness. Directly experiencing just this simple moment and finding that that's exactly what is here, and thus it is exactly what is presented to us as our opportunity to be. And allowing for whatever is there, whether it's pleasant, unpleasant, neutral. Having compassion by opening to feeling. Noticing, exploring what is really there when you set aside mental proliferation, ideas, distraction, and simply be with this moment's sensation, this arising. Each experience of felt sensation, body sensation, emotion, whatever you're feeling, allowing it to arise and to pass in peace. And if there's resistance, or if it's difficult or unpleasant, challenging, allowing that as well. Of course, at any time, if you need to take care of yourself in some other way, that's available. You can always get up and take a break or get some water. But for now, I invite you to simply drop into your felt experience, open to it, greet it lovingly, without push or pull, with equanimity. Welcoming each new experience. And then letting it pass as is its nature, for a new moment to unfold and arise. In the Sufi tradition, they practice with one hand open, facing up to receive, and one hand open, facing down to give. Always receiving, always giving, each arising, each passing. Each felt experience, each moment, just as it is. This is a practice of letting go into the moment, letting go into the experience. Opening to, surrendering into the experience, the moment, the practice of being with what is felt. And whatever your experience is, this is aliveness. This is direct experience. And there's great truth in that. And in a moment, I'm going to ring a bell and we're going to leave this period of practice. I'm going to invite you to stay in touch with this felt sense as we move forward in our time together and throughout the day in your life. Hello, everybody. Hi, friends. Hello. I see some hands waving. This is great. Hi. Thank you for being here. My name is Pan Williams. I'm here live from Oak, our modern monastery in the Bay Area, bringing wisdom and compassion to the people who are creating technology and AI for the future. So it's a joy to be with you here. We'd like to open to the community and have a chance for each person to introduce themselves and say your name, and then you can share up to a few sentences about the experience of the meditation that we just did. So we'll go in alphabetical order. And I should mention that the rest of the modern monastic residents here at our full-time leadership and meditation training program are on a silent retreat for 1 week. So I'm kind of running the show. It means I'm doing my own technology. And yes, it's wonderful that we can join in practice here, as we know that folks are really diving deeply into meditation on the retreats. And in this way, we're united as a community, and we're supporting each other and the world. Very good. Okay, so we're going to do the check-in. I'm going to unmute, and we're going to go in alphabetical order. Or wait, let's see. Can I unmute? I don't think I can unmute, actually. But let's go starting with Amy Raby, A-R. Hi, Amy.
Hi there. So about the guided practice that we just did, it's really nice, partly because it dovetailed with the last several days practice of energy body as taught by Rob Burbia. So I really enjoy that.
That's wonderful. Yes. And Robert Bea is an excellent teacher. Very good. Thank you, Amy. Now we'll move on to Amina the Dream. Amina the Dream. Are you there, friend?
Hi guys. I'm Amin.
Amin.
Can you hear me? It was a great experience. I kind of disappeared for like, I think twice or 3 times, and then I kind of came back like very strongly with the hitting of the bell. So that was kind of interesting, fascinating. Yeah. So thank you for that.
Thank you, Amin. Good to be here with you. Next, Daniel Blank.
Hi, I came in a spot late, but overall, yeah, I was distracted a few times. I don't know if having come in earlier and having started sooner would have made it go better as the initial distractions wear off. Yeah, I don't know what else I have to say. So
Okay,
next.
Perfect. Thank you. Danielle.
Hey, let's see. I noticed suppression, and then when I allowed for the suppression, some surrender.
Thank you, Danielle. Very good. Thank you. Next, Daryl. Hello. Can you unmute yourself? I cannot unmute you. We'll give you a minute to figure it out if you like. And Hannah, we'll go with you next. Hi, Hannah.
I would say what I noticed was a lot of thoughts spinning, and then just kind of that moment where it's like the deep breath settling through my body and being like, okay, I'm actually gonna feel what I'm feeling, and that kind of surrender to feeling the feelings. And then of course I started crying. But yeah, it was really good. It was like, okay, I'm gonna let myself feel this here.
Thank you. Very good. Thank you. Okay. Let's see. Okay, I see Daryl. Can you find the unmute button on your computer or your device? I'm very proud that we don't.
There.
Oh, there we go. Great. Thank you. And this is my wonderful father, Daryl Williams, who I'm so proud to have here.
Well, I'm honored, Peter, to have passed on the best of my DNA. I call Pan the upgrade. My experience was as before, where I respond so well to the guided imagery and the voice. I literally have never been able to just sit and breathe and get there on my own with any technique, but somehow you were able to get me there so well. And I just was able to kind of zone out and get into present time and breathe. And I realized how refreshing it was. It felt like I had taken a nap.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
Good.
What a good spiritual guide you are, and what a fabulous technique for me. Really worked well.
Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Now we can move on to Jamie. Hi, Jamie. Jamie Kaylee, welcome, if you'd like. Okay. Might not have Jamie. We'll do Jared. Jared Bhatti. Welcome, Jared.
Hi, I'm Jared Bhatti. Thank you so much for leading the guided meditation, Pan. I normally meditate in silence, and I often feel my mind drifting out of the presence and sort of becoming untethered and considering the past and ruminating on the past, or trying to make plans for the future. And it's like, oh, some time. I should make a list of all the things to do today. And it's nice to just be reminded through your guidance to come back and be present, be in the moments. So thank you very much for that. I felt it felt very centering and very safe. And thank you for building that container.
Thank you, Jared. Thank you. Let's move on to Kristen. Hello, Kristen.
Hi. It was a very calm, centering experience for me. It's nice to be with people meditating. So that there's a feeling and energy to that, which is nice. I've noticed a lot of my thinking that arises during meditation is future thinking, projecting out things that I could be doing, planning. It's like excitement, new ideas coming up. So this is something I've noticed lately, and it's just bringing it back to the present. But it was a nice experience to be doing that with a group and with guidance.
Yes, thank you. Each person's sharing, and I'm finding myself wanting to dive in and give commentary like, the Sangha is one of the 3 jewels that the Buddha talked about, and it's absolutely underemphasized in our 21st century hyper-individualized modern mindfulness. And being here as a group is so powerful. And I'll just say that and now move on to Lynn and Bob. Hi, Lynn and Bob.
Good afternoon. I'd just like to thank you, Pan, for leading the meditation. Your voice is extremely calming, and it did keep me focused in the present, so I very much appreciated that.
Wonderful.
Always enjoy your sessions. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. Thank you, Bob and Lynn. Okay. Mike Don. Hello, Mike.
Hello. I think a lot of what Jared and Kristen mentioned really resonates quite a bit. There's something very different about being with other people as opposed to listening to meditation via an app or something like that, and something more humanizing about it. And I think that as I started to let go of the distractions, I just started to feel my heartbeat, and it was nice to think about how I can reference back to that in the future, how I can just, in whatever moment that I'm carrying forward, I can think like, where's my heartbeat? Can I feel that?
Thank you. Thank you. Beautiful. Now we have Pam. Hello, Pam. Welcome.
Thank you. Thanks, Pan. I'm so glad that you continue to do this 4 weeks out of the month instead of just 3 weeks when the rest are doing it. Feels like we are important, and I like that. Meditation for me today, I gave myself a lot of leeway. I was distracted and knew I was going to be distracted, and that made it really okay. The moments I was in my body were great, and I think my level of concentration has been stronger since the meditation ended, because it seems to be that the embodiment is what I want to do as a background practice. So it's kind of a flip, and I'm really okay with it. So thank you.
Thank you, Pam. Wonderful share. Thank you. Now we have Mama D. Hi, Renee.
Hi, Pan. Hi, everyone. I have the similar experience of just how powerful it is to be with this Sangha and to be meditating together. I had the experience of being very distracted and wanting quiet. And so there was a period of time where I just muted my computer because I didn't do that. And then I came back and the guidance had slowed down. There was more space. It was more open and I settled in. So thank you for that whole experience. And thanks everyone for meditating with me.
Brilliant. Thank you. Yeah, and I'll do one more hop in with something to say bit, but I really would love to encourage each person to take care of themselves as needed and adapt and empower yourself to do what calls to you in this particular style of practice with the group here today. I think, Renee, that was a wonderful example of just silence called to you and you went for it. So that's great. Yeah. And now we can go to Rich.
Hi, everyone. Yes, thank you, Pan. It was wonderful. I felt a lot of really nice energy, especially in the lower back. I felt a lot of just overall sense of rest. Very little emotional activation, and it was a joy being with lots of people. And I feel, like Pam said, more awake and alert than I did when I started.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, I'm noticing Mike mentioned the heartbeat, and I'm noticing my heartbeat and have been noticing that. And I find often when I become more present with a dropped in embodied experience, the heartbeat then becomes noticeable and available. Not always, but this is just an interesting phenomenon. It's been talked about by different spiritual traditions in different ways, but I think it's pretty neat that it's just the heartbeat is always there, but it's such a clear example that when we become more present, when we actually live in a way that is practicing mindfulness, suddenly we're just clearly aware of something more than was there before. And this is present in many profound levels as the practice deepens with our lives. We start to notice, oh my gosh, wow, there's all these experiences. I'm feeling all these things in my body. That was one of the things that hit me when I first started meditation. I didn't know, well, what was this all about? I was way up here all the time, which is, great. We need to be thinking about things and that's useful. But I distinctly remember just learning that felt experience was something that was actually lived and embodied. And then that unfolds in deeper and deeper layers as the practice continues. So we have this beautiful spiritual adventure that we can bear the fruits of, sometimes just in real time, like we've heard from a couple of from many of the folks reporting. I wanted to mention too that in the chat we have a couple of people who who aren't speaking on the video and mic stuff, but we had a hello from Dana. So hello, Dana, and also from Annie and Mumu. Hello, Annie and Mumu. Wonderful to be with you. Really nice to be with you. So, I would like to talk today about a numbered list of Buddhism, which is very, very powerful. And these are known as the 4 Great Vows, or one translation, an earlier translation from the 8th century Chinese, is a Chinese master who you can find, let's see here, I believe his name is Hen Sui. I'll find that and put that in the meeting notes. But he said it was broad as in, this is for all. These are broad vows, big vows. And some of this terminology may be unfamiliar to us, but I think that actually may be of value when dealing with this kind of situation that we have with the true letting go of and going beyond what we thought was possible and what we can currently conceive of an experience. And these vows are great in that way, that they bring us beyond. They essentially, by the way that they are, call to us, and indeed, almost when you start getting to them, force us into, we must know, we must embody this, we must find this, we must do this. So there's this great calling. And so I'd like to recite these 4 great vows for you. This has been part of my training at the Monastic Academy for the last 5 years, and something that we recite these 4 vows each day as part of our practice. So it's fun to unpack them with you a bit, and then we'll be applying them to our practice and our lives. And this is, I should mention, part of a sort of like an ongoing series of exploration of these various kinds of lists that have a lot of deep meaning. They seem simple, but they're actually quite profound, just like the meditation practice, which seems so simple to notice your body, but what starts to unfold is far surpasses anything that we had conceived of before. I'll start in Japanese, and then I'll translate to English. Shujo muhen Seikando bon no mujin Seigan dan ho mon mu ryo Seigan gaku butsu do bu jo Seigan jo. Myriad lives without number, vow to free them. Greed and hate without end, vow to break them. Gates of truth without measure, vow to know them. Awakened way without compare, vow to fulfill it. And so hearing that, take a moment to notice what comes up for you. If you're like me, oftentimes there's some mixture of incredibly inspired and totally confused, fascinated but overwhelmed. Myriad lives without number, countless lives, always changing, always shifting, we don't even know. And yet, we have this enormous aspiration to free them. It's such a loving sentiment. Greed and hate without end. It's a really poignant point. If you have greed, no amount of accumulating or hoarding or managing your experience so you have things exactly how you need it to be. It's a form of greed. No amount of that is ever going to bring you deep happiness. And it's not even probably going to bring you lasting happiness because, well, let's face it, things are uncertain and we all get sick, age, and die. Without end. Wow. No amount of being more hateful is going to get you out of hatefulness. No amount of division is going to free you from being separated and divided. And yet, we vow to break them. We vow to go beyond them. Gates of truth without measure, vow to know them. How could you know something that you can't measure? What does that mean? These gates of truth are each moment, each experience. Each one is a direct access to aliveness, presence. Knowing each moment. This moment, knowing this moment, knowing this moment. Ongoing exploration. There's no single answer to this. This is alive. There can be some powerful energy that arrives when we start to go into these explorations. Or sometimes not. But I assure you that as we drop out of fixed places and stuckness and the assumptions, that things start to come to life. Awakened way without compare. Vow to fulfill it. What does it mean to take the way that is without compare? Truly, to do, to be, to embody our best. To open to our divine nature. The deep inner goodness that is our true essence that underlies a reality in all living beings. That seems like some tall orders to you. And yes, it is so. And yet, in this exploration, and indeed, even setting this intention to begin, to do something, that holds great power. There's a term, bodhicitta, and this is just one of the most beautiful sentiments that is found in Buddhism to me. I think it's so beautiful, and it's the sense of to awaken for all beings, and for all beings to awaken to our true nature, to the true nature of reality. And it's this incredible sense of collective liberation that's found on the Mahayana Buddha path. And so, as we recite these vows and explore them, we're cultivating a sense of bodhicitta. We're opening to that as it naturally exists within us to begin to emerge and manifest. And of course, in this training, we train in this form of awakening practice, and then we put that into practice and responsibility, so taking action. Part of all this is openness and having a mindset of, well, you've heard it called don't know mind by some of the in Zen, this complete not knowing, this complete surrender to have this idea that we have it all figured out. And this is quite a tall order as well. As Shinzen Young, one of many of our friends, teachers, as Shinzen says, the mind wants to know and the body wants to be comfortable. But the mind wants to know. The mind has this like desire to figure everything out and to have mental models of, okay, I've got all this stuff. I figured it out. I've got plans for everything. I know this about that. And that's what I know, and I'm sticking to it. In this, there's a trap of falling into assumptions, falling into fixed views that are trapped in mental proliferation, a sense of stuckness, and the inability to see truth as it is arising in its current form. People are stuck in ideologies or habit patterns that rule their lives, and self-limiting beliefs. Oh, I can never do that. This is just the way things are. This is a form of suffering. And so even though it's, I think, very counterintuitive to many of our Western cultural ways of doing things and beliefs, this sense of letting go into the present moment and having this great faith. Well, that's something we just explored in the meditation. Yeah. To get beyond ourselves, we have to get beyond all the even very subtle things that we've calcified in terms of the way we layer on to our views, the way that we're stuck in loops, ignorance, not seeing things clearly because we've come up with these mental obstructions. We see everything through. I can't see too good. Why? Because we've got so much that we've accumulated in the mind. And so the meditation practice is one of the most powerful psycho-spiritual tools available to go beyond that in a very simple and accessible way even. And yet the depths of the richness of the practice, as well as the depths of our own delusion, run very deep, very, very deep. And it's hard at times, and it's joyful at times, and sometimes it's both. But we keep going, just like what we were doing in the meditation just there. Feeling all kinds of stuff. Keep going. And in that is the purification that is needed. That's really exciting. It's one of the most beautiful, and I feel like it's like a form of grace that we just do the practice and then naturally our true goodness emerges and unfolds. Yeah. In the Lakota Native American tradition, which is where I grew up in North Dakota and part of the Monastic Academy influence, right now, Hoshin, one of the residents from Maple, our sister modern monastery in Vermont, is supporting the Sundance ceremony in Colorado, which I have also supported. But Wakantanka is Great Spirit, although that may be problematic, this idea that it is a spirit So we can say also great mystery here. Okay, well, what is that? I have a friend who is a sun dancer, also a former monk, Tibetan Buddhist monk, Ted Ulinsky. Hi, Ted, if you're out there, you ever see this. But he's a very interesting fellow and has a Heyoka spirit, which means that he's kind of a backwards trickster type, sort of spiritual, a strange spiritual, wonderful being. And I can say that because I've been told that I have that presence as well. So Ted says, Wakantanka, he says, that which confuses me, that which confuses me. I remember when he told me this, I was like, Ted, what? I don't want to be confused. Come on. And to be willing to go into that confusion is a sign of maturity, because it means that we're willing at least to look at something that isn't comfortable. And if we want to be feeling comfortable, then often we avoid looking at things that are uncomfortable feeling. We see this in our own lives and practice various kinds of avoidance. We see this on the bigger scale. When people don't want to listen to others, and then we have conflict. Don't want to listen, actually hear, because it might challenge us in some ways. It might force us to get outside of our comfort zone, as they say. Comfort. The body wants comfort. And we're compassionate throughout all of this, loving to ourselves, loving to others. Everybody's going through stuff. Everybody's got challenges. And yet everybody has the goodness as their true nature. And so in this path, we do this for everybody, everywhere. The Monastic Academy is known as MAPLE, the Monastic Academy for the Preservation of Life on Earth, all life. Right now, we're working with people here in the Bay Area of San Francisco who are creating technology and artificial intelligence that could have an enormous impact on life on Earth. And so part of Oak's goal is to bring this practice, modern monasticism, meditation, wisdom, compassion. From there, we can be open, and these great vows can instill that in us. Because when you're looking at something like the future of technology, you're just looking at something like artificial intelligence. Welcome to Don't Know Mind. We have no idea, and I'm no technical expert, so I don't want to put myself in some expert level position or something like that. But it seems that the future is greatly unknown, and the way that these things can go. We have someone who's very special, who many of you know, Tushin, Michael Fogelman, has come here to Oak recently as teacher, and he's been teaching on strategy as well. And one of the things he's been instilling is creating conditions for favorable outcomes. Instead of having one way to do it, having a goal and then going towards that with a plan and steps, that has value and is useful. But instead, opening to creating conditions that will meet whatever's coming. And so as we practice meditation, we are doing that. We're purifying our minds so that whatever we encounter, whatever we do next, will come from a place of presence, and having let go of some of the obstructions, some of the attachments, some of the fixed views. But if you want a leader, I would suggest that it should be somebody who can at least go beyond themselves enough to care about everybody else in a deep embodied way. And I would suggest that it should be somebody who has gotten over their own stuck places, their own habit patterns that hold them back. And I would suggest that it be somebody who's cut through the delusion and the worldviews that are so trapping, and is able to look at other people's points of view and to see through the eyes of different lenses. And that's what we're trying to do with this practice. Yeah. And we can feel real good about that. And we don't know. We don't know how it's going to manifest. And we don't know the way things are going to go. Certainly the pandemic has shown that. And yet we ready ourselves and we engage with this constantly as our lives. And this is to live it. Yeah. We're going to recite the great vows. And I'd allow you to just take them however feels right to you. Once again, you may notice what impact it has for you in your felt experience. Shu, Jo, Mu, Hen, Se, Gan, Do, Bon, No, Mu, Jin, Se, Gan, Dan, Ho, Mon, Mu, Ryo, Se, Gan, Gaku, Butsu, Do, Mu, Jo, Se, Gan, Jo. Myriad lives without number, vow to free them. Greed and hate without end, vow to break them. Gates of truth without measure, vow to know them. Awakened way without compare, vow to fulfill it. Allow yourself to notice what's happening in your direct experience. You can continue to practice in silence if you'd like to turn down the volume. But I'm going to read some inspiring passages. And as I do, you may continue to notice what's arising in your felt experience. May I be a protector of those without protection, a leader for those who journey, a boat and a bridge, passage for those desiring a further shore. May the pain of every living creature be completely cleared away. May I be the doctor and the medicine, and may I be the nurse for all sick beings in the world until everyone is healed. It's Shantideva. Continue to notice or experience the moment. Whatever is being felt. Each living, breathing moment, feeling into this deep inquiry. A felt answer, a lived answer. And then going beyond what you thought that was. In this next moment, open, sensory clarity, what is there? Curiosity. In receiving this moment, you are opening to what is. This is an act of great compassion for yourself and for everyone. What can you do in this moment to free myriad lives without number? What can you do in this moment to break free of greed and hate? What can be done right now to meet these gates of truth? How can we fulfill this awakened way? It's asking these questions that is the path, that is the practice, that is the moment, that is the goal. It's meeting each experience as an answer, as wisdom. Opening, feeling, feeling. This moment is medicine. Being present is compassion. They are intertwined. And then going beyond everything I just said to this moment again, this moment again, this moment again. So that our lives become alive. Living vow. And beyond all that, simple moments, simply noticing. With this energy comes a peace. An openness. In a world of uncertainty and chaos, we ask these big questions, but we are nourished by the present moment. We are anchored in it, even when it's uncomfortable, confusing. It's real. The simple gift of just feel. Just feel. And as we're willing to be with whatever arises, we find that that is a compassionate act. Can we be with ourselves and our feelings? To the extent we can is the extent we can be with others in their experience. Building empathy and connection. Thank you for feeling. Thank you for practicing. Continue to feel. Just feel. Just feel. Feeling into myriad lives without number, vow to free them. Feeling into greed and hate without end, vow to break them. Feeling into states of truth without measure, vow to know them. Feeling into awakened way without compare, vow to fulfill it. letting go of all that and feeling. That which confuses me, that which makes me go beyond what I thought I knew, that which breaks free of the mental patterns and prisons that bind me. Wakantanka. Just feel. With the peace of knowing that this experience is exactly what is called for, because it is what exists. Thank you. Thank you for being with things directly. In a moment, I'll ring a bell and invite you to continue to keep this presence with you as we move forward. Thank you for sharing that period of practice. Really feel the strength being here together. It's really, really joyful. Thank you. So we ask these big questions, and we really want to go for it. And something to be deeply celebrated. We can allow ourselves to feel good that we're getting real. It's not always easy. It doesn't always make sense. It doesn't always feel great even. But this is the path of purification of mind. To do good, to refrain from doing evil, and to purify mind. This is the teaching of the Buddha. It's known as the 3 pure precepts. Sabbapapa sa akaranam kusalasa upasam rada sachitta pariodapanam etam buddhana sasanam. Thank you. Thank you for practicing. So we never know exactly how this is going to show up, but we know that we're laying the groundwork. Last night I was driving and was going down Interstate 101, 5 lanes of traffic. Suddenly 2 of the lanes were being closed off by traffic cones. And the 3rd lane was then inhabited by a vehicle that was completely stopped in a 65-mile-an-hour road. So you have a bottleneck of 5 lanes of traffic down to 2 lanes of traffic in maybe the course of, I don't know, half a minute or a minute of driving, 65 miles an hour speed limit. And so there were multiple car crashes and pileups, and I was involved in one of them. Damage was sustained to the vehicle and others' vehicles. No one was injured, and I'm okay. But we can see that we don't know. We don't have answers. But we want to be ready to not know. And we can do that through this training. And I think this is actually revolutionary. We have a world that is a multi-car pileup, multiple multi-car pileups, unrelated to each other. We've created these horrible circumstances where we're forced to drive around on these big giant interstates that then turn into death traps. And yes, they've benefited us in different ways, but as a metaphor for the bigger picture of our world, we're stuck in patterns that are causing great harm. You can see when you set up a pattern for 5 lanes of traffic to turn into 2 lanes of traffic, and then people get freaked out and then they stop in the middle of the road. Just talking to the highway patrol. Why does this happen? So people don't even know. They're not able to cope with something being totally different. They're just not used to this, and then circumstance, and then so we have a multitude of factors here contributing to a lot of suffering. And so in this practice, we, by letting go, by being open, by truly taking a blank slate, a don't know mind, I think that's going to be key to getting us out of and working through and emerging from all the crises in the world. If we're totally in these assumptions and we can't get out of them, that doesn't look too good. But this practice is what breaks through. This is what goes beyond. This is what transcends all of those big limitations. And we don't know exactly how it's going to manifest in our physical form lives, but it will ripple through. And I know that yesterday, after crashing a car, after airbags going off, my practice really did carry me. I can just say that. And I immediately just took action. I got out of the car. I went to every other car, made sure everybody was okay. Did they need hospitalization? Immediately called 911, called the police, communicated with the dispatcher, did the whole thing. Just, that's what's there. It was no big deal. It didn't even really feel that bad. It was just like, okay, it wasn't like, there was, of course, there was terror and, confusion and things, but okay. Maybe you experienced some of that even in these meditations. So you can be with that, and that's okay for it to be there. And we can find that it has wisdom, we can honor it, but we can also just roll with it and do what needs to be done. And that's a gift to the world. So the leadership training at Oak, I think, is trying to do the same thing. We don't know exactly how folks who are creating the future of technology are going to take exactly what they learned here and exactly how that will manifest. But we know that it will. We know that if we bring this connection, this grounding, this wisdom, clarity, peace, as well as love and compassion, that out of that will come beneficial outcomes. And we know that if we stay trapped in the greed and the hatred and the delusion, all the stuff that we heard about in the great vows, well, that's not going to work. So we got to get real. We got to take a hard look at everything from our own individual daily lives all the way up to the big systems that we've collectively created and that have created us. We can begin to deconstruct. And it's both an inner and an outer process that occurs. So this inner work is necessary, and then it manifests into us taking action. And then that, in turn, motivates us and helps us to go beyond ourselves and be empowered. It's a feedback loop. I don't know if there's a middle. I did a spiral. I like spirals. There's an old story of 3 wanderers through the desert, and they're on the verge of desperation. They're out there just trying to survive, and they come to this walled oasis. Oh my gosh, an oasis, water, food, I don't know, maidens. It's an oasis. It's paradise. and the first person jumps over the wall. Yes, I'm free, I can live here. Second person does the same. Yeah, I'm in paradise. The third looks over the wall, rejoices. Yes, it's paradise. And then turns back around to go and lead others to the paradise because others are in the desert. So there's big questions, and a lot can come from that. And that's good. And you should be inspired by yourself, by others on the path. I see you as questing heroes, knights on a quest for the ultimate enlightenment, the Holy Grail. And that's how I see you, as they would say in the Mahayana Buddhist path, these bodhisattvas who are dedicated for awakening for all beings everywhere, going beyond themselves. And we find, how do we do that? By being with this moment. It's pretty great. And then this moment, and then doing our best in that moment, in this moment, being there. And when we're practicing meditation, then the thing to do is to show up in a meditative way, in that way. And when we're taking action, then we show up exactly, fully, for whatever is arising. And then somehow, some crazy way that is beyond, we begin to open to our innate goodness. We begin to untangle and release all the struggle. We begin to see things in a whole new light. That is the birthright of all beings. And I honor and I celebrate this blessed opportunity to be walking the path together. Well, I'd love to turn it over now to the group. I'd love to hear what's come up for you, what's alive for you in this whole thing. Anything you want to talk about, whether it was your experiences with the meditations or anything you'd like to say about what I've said or anything else that's coming to you, any wisdom that you'd like to share. I'd love to just call in this sort of bit of time we have for community and connection. So let's see here. Yeah, I guess you can just raise your hand or wave your hand wildly. And then I will say, oh, I see. Okay, great. So I see a hand waving wildly. Daniel Blank.
It's been more than a year since I've been going to these and trying to get better at the practice, and I still have no idea, basically, well, very little, if any, of what to do with my life, how to actually steer towards the benefit of all beings. And you're saying it's just going to show up, and it hasn't been. It's just been flailing about, attempting to guess and probably guessing wrong. And as I recall, Sora, you said that one fix to that would be attempting to isolate oneself from the memeplex that is generally pervading the world. One person I know tapes over all the brand names of everything they buy, something like that. But yeah, how does one actually figure that out if just continuing to train like this doesn't seem to be yielding any returns even after this long?
I want to take a moment to just drop in and be with your share. Yeah. Just receiving what you've shared. Yeah. So these great vows, they seem hopeless. They seem utterly unattainable. They can anyway, and they will at different times. In this, we can find a sense of, well, there's a humility there that we don't know. And yet we keep going in every way we can. And part of keeping going is continuing to stay grounded in the practice, meeting each situation from the practice, continuing to purify mind so that the conditions of our own interpersonal work, our psycho-spiritual development, are such that whatever circumstances we meet, we will meet in the best way possible, the most loving and present way possible. And we need to open to the discomfort that we don't know exactly what to do. We don't have answers. This world is in unknown territory in so many ways. Things are happening very quickly. And so staying rooted, staying grounded, continuing to practice will help us to continue to work through our own limitations, stuck places, resistances, habits. All these things take us away from being our best selves in each moment. And it can be hard, it can be confusing. Certainly taking this into, taking action in your life however you can, there's not a clear formula for this, although you can find them, and some of them may be useful, padha, things like ethical frameworks and such that exist. But each circumstance is our own, and there's a great faith that each moment as we meet it is exactly the lesson that we need to learn. And that's not saying that it's good to have things be difficult or challenging. Like, it's not like we're trying to have that happen. But if that arises, then that's our opportunity, and it's a big challenge to try and meet that, from the practice, awakening, and then to try and meet that in responsibility, taking action to be of benefit for others and ourselves. So I know that might not be a clear, do these 3 specific things formula, but maybe it's that exact desire for a specific answer that I can practice letting go of. because I would like to give you a blueprint or, you know, a design for your life, or, but I see you, Daniel, and I know that you're interested and involved in things like existential risk. Some of the things we've talked about, like making sure that technology doesn't run amok with out of control artificial intelligence, or other big existential risks, stuff like climate change. And so I know you're out there. I know you're walking this path. I just want to say that I appreciate you.
You say that as I continue doing the practice, I'll approach things from a better angle, and in general, make better decisions, less biased, more informed by reality. I have not noticed any significant improvement yet, which suggests that I might be committing a persistent error that's not letting the practice be fully useful.
Yeah. Yeah, I think that it's really hard to see how this stuff unfolds. It's one of the things that Soryu told me right when I arrived. I hadn't done much meditation. And he said to me that he can see these changes in people over time, and that they often feel like nothing has happened, or that they're not connected with that. And yet, from a teacher's perspective, he's able to sense that shift, that there's been a difference. So, yeah, it's possible that, I mean, I deeply believe and have heard taught that any practice that you do is not wasted. Any karma that you burn through is not wasted. Any moment of training and being that much more present is not wasted. It's of value. And I hope that you continue to explore all that. And I really applaud you're trying to find solutions to these big questions. And yeah, maybe it's dropping into those 4 great vows, just being in that space. I don't know. Can you open up to that? That's a practice, and that has impact.
I wonder if there are success stories of people who have gotten much better through the practice and thus had a huge positive impact. I believe Joshin once argued that that much communication technology in earlier times was developed by monks.
Oh, it's true. Yeah, stuff like the printing press was proliferated by monks. Yeah. Well, I think there's a lot of success stories. I was just talking about Noah Yuval Harari. Some of you know him. He's written the book Sapiens. He meditates 2 hours a day and 60 days, one 60-day retreat per year. And he says that he does this because it makes him much more effective at the other things that he's doing in his life. So there's one that comes to mind. He's here in this area. But thank you, Daniel, and
thank you.
Appreciate you. And I see another hand waving. Daryl. Hello.
There, I did it.
Yes.
Oh, good. Well, I can give a success story, which is just a lifelong quest for spirituality, where I discover and rediscover. And today was a real rediscover, a real awakening, because my default mode is very linear, rational, left brain oriented. That's the world I live in, and when I try to refuel, I I drink coffee. I go on my iPad and play chess against the machine, or I go to all of the websites with my movies, HBO, this and that and yonder, and I milk it and I milk it. And then this was just like, whoa, just kind of a little wake up. When you asked questions about knowing the unknowable and the quest for these gates of knowledge, and you would say things that I didn't understand, and that was okay, because by just letting my mind go blank, those were almost like little mantra code words where I could just let it all go and drift into that right brain, where that's the hemisphere that I normally suppress, that I don't give vent to. And I find it some with exercise and trying to find some spirituality. My quest in life right now is to move from what made sense for so many years with career, with a pursuit that I had passion for and that I reached for, goal after goal, and the family that I created and lived and loved along the way. But your comment early about money, you said, well, how much is enough? What will ever buy you deep happiness, much less sustained happiness? So I'm at a point that I'm looking for this paradigm shift in life of moving from what made sense all that time and awakening and reawakening to the fact that it's really about the present moment. It's about continuously living there. And with that, reestablishing values, reestablishing the goals, finding access to that deeper level of experience and meaning. Historically, I would be traveling. I've had a vacation, or a graduation on the West Coast, a trip to the Mayo Clinic, and 3 mission trips this year all get canceled, where I would normally be in this quest to reach and go somewhere and experience, and this is causing me to kind of sit in one spot. And that's good. I see the beauty and the value of it. And I can just appreciate so much about some renewed family time with my daughter and my wife, and some of the fun we're having with a simpler existence. So it was just a good moment for me. It was a good program. Thank you, Pan.
Thank you. Yeah, that's just a beautiful microcosm of how this is all an opportunity right here, right now. And it's kind of a necessity for our own happiness and for the world. It's not, like it or not, I don't see it as really optional if we're talking about really turning things around and finding happiness in our own lives, and also in a world where we're a happy world. So that's a really beautiful share, and thank you. We've got time for a few more comments or questions. If there are any. Oh, I see another hand there. Hello, Pam.
I really, really value this community, and thank you very much for what was presented. I even wrote this down, creating the conditions for favorable outcome. So the most I have felt today is during Daniel's share, And I feel like all the time leading up to it created favorable conditions, or created the conditions for that favorable outcome. And I was there to notice it.
Oh, wow.
And I have always enjoyed, Daniel, you being part of this group since I've joined. And I don't propose to know what you're going through. I know for myself, when I first started meditating, I had a crisis in my career. I am a drug dispensing pharmacist, and it stopped making sense the way drugs were prescribed. And I didn't know what to do because that was my income. And somehow through the years, I have developed a different way of being with drugs and natural medicines that's very satisfying to me, and I feel like I'm contributing in my own way. And I did not know at that point when I first had that crisis how it could possibly be resolved at all. Could not have predicted that. And this is just when I started doing meditation practice with Shenzhen right at that same time. So I offer that for whatever it's worth, and I'm deeply moved today. Thank you.
Thank you, Pam. That's truly a beautiful story of living this practice, changing your life for the better, and out of compassion and finding yourself in a trap and then realizing it. You know, the first noble truth in Buddhism is that suffering exists. And oftentimes we've found that there are ways to numb that, there are ways to hide from that, ignore that, or be deluded about what that even is. Our society benefits from stability when people aren't really asking questions, and it's easier for consumerism to fill the void of unhappiness and suffering. And so this is just a really beautiful demonstration of going beyond that and benefiting others. Yeah, thank you, Pam. And also, again, thank you, Daniel. I agree with Pam. It's wonderful to have you here with us. Same to you, Dad.
Thank you.
And everybody else. Yeah. Any closing thoughts? I see Renee. Hello, Renee.
Hello, Pam. And everyone, and Daniel, and Pam, and Daryl. All of you for sharing. And as far as success stories, I have to say I see them in the people in this room. I see them in people who are not in this room, and I don't have an expectation of what success looks like. And I know for myself that having an idea, something should be happening. It should feel like this. That's covering over what's actually there. And when I just drop that, just say, what's actually here? What's here? That's when I can start to notice things that don't seem like a big deal to me, but we all bring ourselves into every situation, and we all have an effect, a positive effect on the world in that way. And I just want to say I'm grateful for everyone being authentic and vulnerable in this way, because it benefits all of us.
Yes. Those are such powerful words. I really, really affirm that, Renee. And yes. Yes. letting go into that. As we're willing to be with whatever is, that's how compassionate I think we can be. If we only are going to be nice and do good things when it's comfortable and easy and feels nice, that's not from ground to stand on, and that's not our true nature. So as we come closer and closer to opening to whatever is, not only are we able to be more compassionate, but we ourselves are liberated. We can actually be with reality instead of having to hide from it all the time because it doesn't feel too good or something. So, Renee, back to you. Back to you, Renee.
Thanks, Pan.
And now, Renee, over in compassion.
So I had a connection that I have never made before in the third vow, the way that you expressed that. The gates of truth without measure. It's the gates of truth without measure are this moment and this moment and this moment and this moment and this one and this one and this one and this one, and going into that, staying with that that's the training. Being and in order to do that, to meet those gates as they are just coming at us all the time, requires letting go of what the expectation we have might be of what should happen, what I should see, what should be coming. You know, here I am, get me enlightened so I can go home and do things.
Famous words.
Yeah.
Famous words.
Yeah. Thank you for that, for
you.
connecting that, what the gates of truth are.
That's awesome. That's beautiful. We'll end with that. And I encourage all of you to keep asking these big questions and keep feeling things, and come back next week. We'll have another Saturday sit. Tashan's going to be back. Be beautiful. Have a wonderful rest of your day and enjoy this glorious summer. Thank you for being here.
Thank you, Pan. Thank you, friends.
Yay. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.
Farewell.
Thank you. Enjoyed it immensely.
Thank you. It's really wonderful to have you here.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Have a wonderful rest of your day. Thanks for being here. All right.